What we have in the world right now, we have a lot of lovers, not committed to a man, there's no wedding, but they're walking provocatively and sexy, and music and movies are all about provocative and sexy. And with provocative and sexy, man will use you for sex, but he will not commit. Because each man wants these 5 roles from a woman. Sometimes he needs a wife, sometimes a sister, sometimes daughter, sometimes mother, and sometimes lover. But a man has to become very clear and very good at his roles of a leader, provider, and protector. And these other 3 roles of becoming a man with a mission, becoming fearless, and becoming generous. And so man has to also work on his role. And then when 2 are working on each other, not on each other, on themselves, this couple will be the strongest couple and nobody can mess up with them. They're a very strong unit together. And so we as a women, we're typically trying to change our man. And that's not our role. Our role is to work on ourselves. Because being a wife and having a strong spiritual foundation, we're navigating our man. They're naturally growing in the direction that we want to, if we're already married. And if we're not married, yes, in the case of someone here, we need to twist our man to get committed because we already have children with them. And the moment they will overcome this fear, they feel good about themselves. I'll share with you, 2 weeks ago, I was flying from Mexico to Atlanta, and here was our son, and here I had a man. Hubby stayed home because he had to work, deal with this drama at work with his boss. And as we're flying back, a man sitting next to me, and we start talking about relationship. And he starts sharing with me, I don't know why my relationship is not going so well lately. He's 27, his girlfriend is 26, and she is Mexican, very Catholic. And I said, so what's been happening? He said, I don't know. I'm telling her, move in with me. I'm going to pay for everything, the groceries, the bills, just move in with me. I said, but are you planning to propose to her? Not really. I don't want to. I'm not ready. I said, why are you not ready? You're 27. Do you have a good job? Yes. Well, you see, sometimes I've noticed that she's kind of became bitter and resigned. I said, does she communicate what she wants? She said, well, yeah, she wants to have children, but we're not even married and engaged. And I said, what is stopping you? He said, well, I'm not sure she's the one. You see, she's kind of became bitter and resigned and resentful. Of course, she's going to be resentful and bitter and resigned. You've been dating her for 5 years and no ring. But I'm only 27. It doesn't matter. You cannot have a free cookie. You're enjoying free cookie for 5 years and you still haven't put the ring on this woman's hand. And we cannot allow that. The smart thing that this girl did not move in with him. Because if you move in with him, then he's getting free sex and he thinks, well, I'm going to pay for bills. I'm a good man. No, a woman needs real commitment. Living together, it's not a commitment. It's convenience. It's a roommate situation, but you get a lot of benefits. You're having her as a wife, like having sex with her, but you don't want to commit and have a ring and wedding bells. And a wedding and a marriage to a woman is like having a sex to a man. It's very important and it's a big deal. And if a man is not willing to commit to a woman, he will have a very bitter, resigned, and unhappy woman. And man needs to understand and overcome his fears. And the more I was talking to him, I said, once you overcome your fear and you will commit to her, you're actually going to grow. And he was like, well, I'm not sure she's the one. But all of that is excuses. So we have our shortcomings as women. They have their shortcomings. But we cannot allow men to be with us in a situation of a roommate because we're not roommates.
I have a question. And
Yes.
in that particular situation, what you just shared with us, what
Yes.
should she do? What this girl should do with this guy?
Well, first of all, she's smart that he's asking her, move in with me because I'm going to take care of her bills, and she's saying no. But what's not smart about her is that she has no ring and she's not dating other men. And I told him, I said, listen, you're not fair with this woman. Either you put a ring on her and get married and have kids, or you let her go because that's very selfish. For 5 years, you're using a free cookie, but you're not willing to do your part. And of course, you're going to become bitter and resentful. It's like she became more and more distant, of course. And so a woman like that should put him at the corner. Listen, I love you. I cherish you. But I've noticed I'm not so happy. And I understand that you're saying you're not ready for having kids and having marriage. And that's why it's okay. I understand. I wish you happiness, but I'm gonna move on. And she moves on. Or she dates other men. But you see, for a woman, if she sleeps with a guy, she becomes very attached. And it's very hard for her to break up because she's hoping, when will he propose? When will he propose? But he's not even thinking about proposal until I start having this conversation. He's like, oh, I guess you're right. That's why she's so resentful and became bitter. He didn't even have no idea that this is his duty to get married to her because he's getting a free cookie. And there's no such a thing as a free cookie. Woman gonna become more and more bitter and upset because he's using her. Because sex is the intimacy between a husband and wife, and not just giving like that. And he owes her a wedding ring and a wedding. And so a woman has two choices: either leave, which I would highly recommend, or date other men. And when she leaves, obviously he will very quickly understand what kind of a mistake he did. And then all his life, I said, do you understand that if she will leave you, you'll understand that she's a really good girl? I said, yeah, I know she's a good girl. Then why are you taking her for granted? Number 6, a man after breakup or crisis searches for a woman. So it's a syndrome of a band-aid. So it won't hurt as much if I'm going to get a new girlfriend because I just gone through divorce or a breakup. So let me quickly find somebody, because men also feel hurt when they go to break up. And so they do this band-aid in order not to feel so much pain. But nothing good will come out of that. Why do you think nothing good will come out of that? Because of what?
His intention was wrong.
Intention was wrong. Very good. What else?
I think the new woman will always kind of feel that she's being used from the get-go.
Yes. Yes. She's definitely feeling used up, and there's no love. He's just using her. And the moment the love, the pain over the breakup is gone, what will he do? Question for you, ladies.
Leave the new woman too?
Yeah. Leave the old woman to a new girl. Yeah, because he's there as a band-aid. She's as a band-aid. And then his feelings are cleared up. He's no longer hurting. And this new girl, he's like, oh, she just fixed me, so I'm gonna leave. And a man during this process needs two things. He needs sex and he needs pity. Pity. Poor me, she broke up with me, she cheated on me, she left me. And so you're listening to him, you're doing the role of a therapist, and you give him the sex. He's starting to heal, he feels good, and then he takes the band-aid, and what he does with it? Toss it out. He puts it in the trash. And that's why it's called the BandAid Syndrome. And so the moment the cut is healed, he no longer needs a band-aid. And so only a woman with a low self-esteem will go for this type of man. He gone through divorce, he gone through breakup, a red flag, you run from him. But some women will think, well, he's gone through divorce, he's single, it's better to have this man than no man at all. Big mistake. No, we're not going for a divorced man or who gone just to break up. When I share my program about 6 stages about how to create a happy and lasting relationship, men never argue that they're willing to wait for a woman for 6 months to get engaged or even for a wedding. Do you know who doesn't believe that men will wait?
Yeah, the women.
Yes, they're thinking, well, if I'm not going to give him sex, he'll go to escort service or he'll find someone else. Or women have so many fears around it, but it's not your responsibility to figure out how he will please himself. And they will please themselves. Don't worry about it. It's your worry, it's your fear. Because if, again, you're a feminine, high-quality woman, he will do anything for you, and he will wait because you are a rare jewel. You're like one, not even in 1,000s. You're one in 1,000,000s. Do you understand that, ladies? All right, and I think that was it when it comes to, This was it. One thing, though, I do want to say that to a man, which is a red flag. For example, a man met a woman and she's saying, "Oh, I had such a monsters. I had such a abusers in the past. You are such a good man. I'm so lucky to have you." It's going to be a matter of time that she'll say the same thing about this man. And so should be a red flag for a man. If she thinks all other ex-boyfriends were abusers, monsters, and etc., that means sooner or later you will be that monster. And a man should run away from a woman like that. But again, with regards to our program, 6 stages, how to create a happy and lasting relationship, it's complete. And I want to ask you, do you have any questions? And is it clear now how to date a man and what it takes to be, how to run the formula and how to be a high value feminine woman that a man would want to commit, would want to get engaged, and would want to marry you and treat you like a queen? Is there any uncertainties about that? That if you do everything the way it's designed by this formula, that a man will commit to you, he will get engaged, and he will marry you? Is there any uncertainties or questions with regards to that?
Can I just say something? My uncle, so my mum's sister's husband, he basically told me everything that you said, and he is a provider and protector, masculine man. He's like 70 years old. He's out there chopping wood, running 10 kilometers in the forest every day, and she's never worked a day outside the house, and they have a very happy, strong relationship, and they've been married since they were 24, and they're in their 70s now, maybe early 70s. And he said exactly everything that you said, everything. He told me a couple of months ago, everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, a man would say, it came out of his mouth, everything that you said.
Thank you, Joanna.
Yeah.
Old school men understand this. And again,
100%.
I have men on YouTube who are in the 20s, their last 30s, they're listening. 40s, 50s, and 60s men are all agreeing to my programs. They're saying 100% truth. So true masculine men are agreeing with this message. And feminine men, they're like, "Ooh, commitment, provider, protector, I'm out of here." And that's a good news for you if you're single. It's okay by men like that, because you're not interested to be with a feminine man. But if you're already in a commitment and in the relationship, the more you work on yourself, I promise you, the more your man gonna start rising to be a masculine man who is a leader, provider, and protector.
Sorry,
What?
I'm not sure who I overtalked, but so I'm dating. I did have one question with kids because I'm dating my daughter, and I'm just curious at what stages. Like, I don't introduce the men to my daughter, and I'm wondering when I should, like when it progresses.
Mm-hmm. Stage number 4. Stage
4.
close. Yes, not earlier than that. When he told you he loved you, when he's ready to listen to your struggle, that's when you introduce your daughter, because it's already pre-engagement stage. You already know, kind of, you feel that he is fully there. He's thinking about engagement. We can sense this in men. That's when you introduce your kids to men, not earlier than that.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So in regards to what you said about the bull, like leading the bull, how do you bring up issues in the relationship with the man if you want to like talk about it?
Well, say a little bit more about bull leading a bull, because that confuses me actually, because we are leading the bull.
Yeah.
A 5-year-old can lead a bull, and it has a higher threat. Okay, and so when, if I'm understanding you correct, if a man is stubborn in his own set ways and he's a bull, consider he's not gonna change his mind until you soften up.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're soft and you're feminine, and you can move him to the right by pulling the ring and rope to the right, to the left, and he goes to the left. Men are that simple. But in order to move him to the right and the left, you have to be gentle, soft, and kind. My husband sometimes fully disagrees with me, and I'm rubbing his shoulder and I'm touching him and say, of course, honey, we're gonna do it the way you want to. Of course, of course. And of course, 2, 3 days later, I'm putting more seeds in his head gently and softly. And now everything is going which way?
Your way.
Of course. They get it. But do I have a with the bull? No.
Mhm. So you never say like, I have a problem with this. No,
This-
that's too confrontational, right?
Yes, this is
Okay.
all masculine. But again, Jenny, you're gonna start changing and becoming soft and kind when the baby's sleeping and you're doing either guided meditation or just regular meditation or a prayer. And all of this mistrust and this fears and anger and frustration was gonna start peeling off and you're gonna become, because it's not I'm playing being feminine. I'm feminine. I am not arguing. I'm like, sure, of course, we're gonna do this. It's natural. But you gotta do the work, Jenny. The work starts always with us. If you're gonna do the strategy doesn't work. They feel that you don't agree with him. He feels that you're still confrontational and want to battle him. And we don't ever battle the bull. We're just patting them, patting, like of course, and doing our thing because mothers know better. What's better for kids? What's better for relationship? What's better for marriage? We know better. This is our expertise, but we first gotta transform ourselves in order to influence them. Yeah, good question. Any other questions?
I had one.
Yes.
So I know, like you said, for the fourth stage is when you bring up like when you start getting more deeper into like personal questions and stuff.
Yes.
But I feel like for my example, like let's say I start dating, we get into the exclusive part. Now my daughter's father lives in London. Until they get older, I will have to like take them to London for them to see. So like when would I have to like, because I feel like a man would be like, you're going across the world. I'm not there. I mean, I don't know. Like if him thinking like that is like a red flag because it's like jealousy or something. But like to introduce like, I do have to travel to bring them to.
Sarah, you're putting this in your head. Until
Okay.
you get to that point, you don't know how it's going to be. It might be so good that both of you fly there and they're both having a dinner, all of you together. Because when I've done therapy for 20 something years, families come together and all exes sitting down and their old kids are playing around. You don't know. You work on yourself. You're talking about hypothetical fears.
Okay.
My man in the future might be jealous if I'll go to London and he might overreact. You don't know any of this. It's all hypothetical. The earthquake is not happening. Why are we talking about earthquake? Make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, good. Well, one other question, and we're gonna
I
start.
have a question. When you are like looking back, because like I'm married, so when you are looking back at your relationship and you see where you might have went wrong, like how do you deal with like letting that go and moving forward and trying not to hold on to the resentment from how things went wrong and what went wrong?
Ladies, all of the forgiveness, resentment, the bitterness, the anger, the fears first goes away during the prayer and meditation. I have a very toxic relative. No matter how much therapy I've done, it was all on the surface level. When I start deeply praying, 2, 3 months later, I start feeling in my chest that I no longer resent her. I no longer scared of her. I no longer feel pain from her. I fully start letting go of all the pain. And then 6 months later, when I saw my relative, we were sitting down and I start saying, how much pain she'd gone through in her childhood that made her this really angry, righteous, and tough. And so all of the bitterness and forgiveness and acceptance happens between you and your relationship to a higher power. And so if you do this daily, you're going to start feeling that the pain gets little bit softer, little bit softer, little bit softer, and then it becomes malleable at a point where it's like a cloud, It's no longer there. It's gone.
How do you do, well, maybe I'm missing the point. I feel like I do that with every relationship except like my marriage. Like it's so much harder for me to forgive in that way.
Yeah, and again, for us women, we're flexible on the outside and malleable, but very strong and rough in the inside. And so, for example, if you do the prayer, let's say now for 5 minutes, I will say do the prayer for 10, 15 minutes. If you do prayer for 10, 15 minutes, start doing it for 20 or 25 minutes. And when you pray, you cannot pray from your head. You gotta pray from your heart, from your soul chakra right here. And then you're gonna start feeling that it starts to shift. But if we're praying in our head and we're thinking this is the right thing to do, I'm just praying and we're not connecting to Him, then it's a very intellectual prayer or meditation. You got to start opening up the soul and asking Him, show me the way, show me get closer to you if you do. And you're doing the prayer with an open heart. And that's how it's going to start shifting. Because I see so many, even pastors on the church, and the churches has deadened space. I've gone to temples and the space is dead because if the pastor or a guru is not doing authentic work of a prayer or meditation, it radiates to everyone. Because right now I'm not giving you the information, I'm giving you transformational knowledge because I've gone through it, and that's why I can give it to you. And that's how different it is. And once you will be able to go through it, you will be able to touch it, your husband and your relatives and your friends and community. And that's why you just got to do it with an open heart, putting more effort and discipline. Make sense?
Yeah.
Because we all want happiness, we want love and results. But we women, we have the laziness. We want to sleep a little bit more, we want to do a little bit less, but we got to be disciplined with one thing and one thing only, our spiritual practices. And it's choice yours. You can wish everyone happiness, you pray to Allah or Jesus, or you can do meditation. It doesn't matter, but we gotta connect to Him. That's where the true transformation happens. Not through therapy, not through reading books, but to connecting to Him.